to get some special shows in. But you probably have been seeing on all of the TV shows, they've been hitting all of the shows, getting up at 6 in the morning, or maybe 4 in the morning to get there early and get their makeup done. But you've probably heard the buzz on it because there's a big buzz. Hawaiian Heart is coming, and it's a musical with 13 songs?
15 original songs.
Oh my gosh. And John Cruz, who I adore, is on his way in, hopefully bringing his guitar. John, if you're listening on the radio and you don't have your guitar, head back up to Kula and get your guitar. Come back down. No, I'm joking, because then you'd miss the show entirely. But this is going to be a huge project, and with that kind of music, it's always wonderful to see people like John Cruz expand into doing a full-blown movie like this. And John's so busy, and I've been blessed to do many, many interviews with John. And John does not take his music writing lightly.
No.
His music may be light-hearted, but his songs are really worked on very deeply. And I have in the studio with me right now Josh. Josh is the director, and you also worked on helping out with the songs. John Cruz is the musical director of the movie, right?
Yes, he's the music supervisor for the film, and he also has a cameo role in the film as well.
As the father.
Yeah, he plays our lead character's father, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
And you have a beautiful lead character, the woman. I've seen her on some of the TV shows. Tiana?
Yes, Tiana Tully, a fantastic actor, and very excited to be working with her as well.
And a great voice.
Oh, yeah, she has a beautiful voice.
She's an up-and-coming rising star, for sure.
She is, for sure. Amazing dancer as well. She comes from an entertainment family, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. And Bryan Spicer, who is part of the production team, Sight and Sound Production, has worked with two of my favorite shows, Magnum P.I. and Hawaii Five-0, which is always nice to drop when you're trying to get funds to do a movie like this. I think I hear our squeaky door opening. That must be John Cruz coming in. We don't have a doorbell. We have a squeaky door. We don't need a doorbell.
Works the same way.
We don't need a doorbell. Squeak, squeak. So this is been in the works how long? Because it's not easy to put a big production like this together.
No, it's not. This has been in the works for about 4 years now. And actually, when it started out, it was a jukebox musical with a lot of my favorite artists, John Cruz being one of them. But it is basically anyone you can think of. I took my favorite songs and put them in there. And then when I went to talk to John about using his music for the film, he noticed one of the original songs I snuck in there. And he said, this is a really good song. Why don't we just write all original music together?
Wow.
That was the thrill of my life. I tell you, if my career had ended right there, I would have been happy. John Cruz telling me he liked my song. So we wrote 15 original songs together, and it's been a blast.
I've asked John to do 2 of my songs, and I didn't get as far as you did. So I know what you're saying. I mean, because, he has a very fine-tuned sense about what works and what doesn't work. And I really respect John for that.
Oh, he's an incredible artist.
And people don't know, I mean, of course, everyone knows his family. The family is legendary, of course, on top of that. But doing a movie it's a huge amount of work. I mean, I was telling you, probably one of the hardest things is actually getting the funding, I think. It's hard to get funding for a movie. But one of the things I love is that when we do a movie here with the right intent, and you've lived on Maui a long time, you've lived around here, you understand it. Of course, some of your actors in there, including Branscombe, has been around Maui for a long time. John Cruz has been on Maui definitely for years now, and before that, Oahu. So you know that you have to, and you said Tiana's family is in the music field as well. So you have a certain cultural standard you've got to live up to, right?
Absolutely. This is a love letter to Hawaii, and it's an entirely local crew, entirely local cast.
Wow.
And that's really important to us. And everyone I've brought onto the project, I've made sure that they understand the heart and soul of it, which is that love letter to Hawaii, is respecting the culture. And, we all feel we have a kuleana to portray the culture accurately and respectfully. And we're working with really knowledgeable kumu. We're really blessed to have some really wonderful cultural advisors on the film as well.
I think you have 2 cultural advisors.
Yes, we have Lena Alajardin, who's Kumuhula, and we have Dr. Kea'o Naismith, who I just have the utmost respect for them, and I'm so humbled and grateful to be working with them.
And you brought up in this movie, I mean, I've just, from what I've read, it brings up the classic question, which is really coming up now. The issue that people from Hawaii go and they make their living or make money or become successful on the mainland. Then they come back and then they have to see what happened, and then they have to make the choice about what they have gotten themselves into for their jobs. In this case, it was a New York heavy hitter lawyer.
Yeah, well, one of the issues that is a true local issue that I don't even know if I've talked about this anywhere yet, but one of the things that we deal with in our film is that there are a lot of small local businesses who end up, the younger generation doesn't want to carry on. They want to move to the mainland, or they want to do their own thing, and that's actually a big theme in our film.
That's so important. I have seen this time and time and time again. It's always heartbreaking. We have had some of those ma and pas get to that point where they just assume that large family will carry on, and they don't, and that is just can be the end, Yeah. Although there are some still wonderful owner-operators who are keeping on and as ma and pas here and doing very well. But the ones that were around 100 years, we saw, especially during COVID, some of this happening.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. Actually, a mutual friend of John and myself who introduced us owned a diner on Kauai, and it went down during the pandemic, and just to see some of those local businesses close was heartbreaking.
Yeah. So when you have the situation, and I guess a valid one, where you have someone who's gone away, comes back and is now a whole different space, because they're living in New York is very different than living in Hawaii. Being a lawyer in New York is about as aggressive as you could have to be, and Hawaii's pretty laid back and kick back, right? So, it's so funny. I can't help but think of a song that actually isn't in the movie, but it would fit so well, last night I dreamt I was returning, and
Yep.
and my heart called out for you, and that was actually about his sister that he wrote that. Same thing, sometimes you do change. Change is a hard thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of friends of mine grew up on Kauai who I took inspiration from for the story, and I also took a lot of inspiration from my own romance with my lovely wife. And it's just we tried our best to make something that's really earnest that people can relate to.
How do you write the script for a musical when the music is such an important 15 songs? I would imagine each song's around 4 minutes, 5 minutes. That's a lot of time in song.
Oh, it sure is. I mean, it's basically a light operetta at that point. But all of the songs really speak to the story, really speak to the characters. And, I did my best, and working with John, we did our best to really make it flow seamlessly so that...
Was that hard?
It isn't easy. It isn't easy, but to do it right, it isn't easy. But I think we really accomplished something special. I hope that people think that, at least when they see the film, that it just, when the emotion swells, when the time is right, when those characters are feeling their deepest, it transitions into song.
Now, I know I just saw on the news recently that they're trying to build another sound stage in Oahu. I think they were actually just trying to get the budget for it together, cleared, and getting the backing for it. I mean, this is something we've tried in Maui for a long time. Once or twice it almost happened. It was so close, But it's hard because people don't realize how much money, number one, it takes.
Right.
But then they've got to see the return. I don't know if people understand how valuable it is, I mean, okay, shall we go as big commercial as George Clooney and The Descendants? That was a huge film, right?
It was.
You couldn't ask for a bigger name than George Clooney,
right?
And at the same time, you could sense they were trying to be true to the Hawaiian culture and everything. And at the same time, sometimes Hawaii can be its hardest audience. Have you ever noticed that? Sometimes I see people in Hawaii, they said things about that movie that scared me, that I was going, well, wait, I think it was a great movie. What do you mean it wasn't? I think it was pretty real, But then there were people who kind of dissed it, It shocked me, that they would. So sometimes Hawaii isn't a hard audience, I think maybe the fact that George Clooney isn't from Hawaii might have, but...
Yeah, well, I think when you have something that people are so passionate about, and I think Hawaiians are very passionate, as they should be about Hawaii, and... But I think what I'm hoping, anyways, with our film is that our intentions come from a place of such aloha. And we want to give back to the community. We're working with a group of local business leaders and community leaders to make sure that we're giving back in meaningful ways. And we're so passionate about keeping this production local and keeping everyone involved, just people who really understand the story we're trying to tell. So I'm hoping that comes across, and hopefully everybody can just have a good time and share the aloha with us.
I don't know if people generally know how much work and how much it is based on the crew that you have, getting the right crew, getting the crew. I don't know if you're union or not union, but you have to follow all the procedures, right? You got the sound, which is huge, especially in a musical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've got the lighting, the lighting crew, and then you never know what's going to happen with weather, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I would imagine a lot of this is going to be filmed as far as the music scenes indoors. I don't know. It's trying to do sound for music. They're lip sync or something, because it's really hard to get good sound outdoors, right?
It is. We are very lucky to be working with Sight and Sound Productions. They are just the absolute best production company I've ever worked with, and they're based right out of Oahu. And but we have an amazing crew, and we're filming almost all the exteriors on Kauai, because I really want it to feel like you're genuinely there on Kauai, which is where the movie takes place. And we'll be filming some of the interiors on Oahu, but it's all going to be filmed right here in Hawaii.
Is the Hawaii Film Commissioner there getting you all the permits and helping out in that part? Because that's another part of doing any filming. You have to have permits. You can't just go and shoot somewhere.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, Bryan Spicer, who's the executive producer on our film, he's the executive producer for Magnum P.I. and Hawaii 5.0. And
so he knows how to do it.
So he knows what he's doing. We haven't started our deep conversations with the film commissioner yet, just because we're still a little ways from filming. But we have started some conversations there, and we hope to have a good relationship there.
So you have already come out with, and it the right way. These days in the music industry, of course, that and John Cruz for sure, it's all about the singles.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all about the singles, right? It's not like it used to be. It's not like you're going to just do an album. You're leading off with a couple of strong singles. And the first one's already out. It just came out, I think, March 1st, was it? The
yes,
debut
that's right.
of the song?
Came out March 1st. That's a duet between John Cruz and our lead actress, Tiana Tully. I think they both did a beautiful job with it. And, we're really proud of it. And
then you have a second one soon to be released, I think, right?
Yeah, actually this Friday. Bronson Varde, our male lead, and he's a local singer-songwriter, incredibly talented guy. And that's his song, Lani. It's a love song.
Lani means heaven.
Yes.
But is that the name of the lead role in this?
It's the name of our lead character that he's professing his love to in this love song.
Tiana.
But as you say it, the word means heaven, and so there's some nice metaphors in there in the song.
And so with all of this, and one thing I like is that you respect the fact that the music can lead the way and open some doors as it gets played to leading up to the movie. And I know you're saying 2024. We're already 3 months into 2023. Typically, things can go a little slow in Hawaii. But I appreciate that you're saying Bryan Spicer. Obviously, he has to work on a deadline. If you're doing Magnum P.I. and if you're doing NCIS or any Hawaii 5, you gotta get your film out in a timely manner. But for a movie, a lot of times you do see delays, right? And you have a time frame you've got to get everything out for, because and I know a lot of the movie, it's based in the editing that makes it really great at the end too.
That's true. Well, and we've been like I say, we've been working on this for 4 years, so we are pretty prepared and we're ready to go. And do
you have the script all done?
The script's all done. Everything's ready to go. And I storyboard. As a director, I storyboard everything out. So, and I shoot for the edit. So that's something we say, but it basically means I have the whole film in my head. I'm not just going in for full coverage. I kind of know exactly what we're there to get, and so hopefully the editing will go quickly, and we'll we'll have everything ready for you in 2024. But
will you tell for people who don't know the importance of a storyboard in a movie, why a storyboard is so important and how you develop that?
Well, in a film, you storyboard every shot that you're going to film, and it helps communicate with the actors and the crew exactly what the visuals are going to be. And for me as a director, I learned early on in my career that it's an incredibly helpful tool for just keeping things on schedule as well, because if you're running out of time, you can look at everything you're about to shoot and say, oh, well, you know what? We didn't really need this shot. I was just being greedy. So, you know, it helps.
You know what? I like that line. We didn't need this shot. I was being greedy.
Yeah.
That's the mind of an editor, which a lot of directors may not have, right?
Yeah, well, I edit as well, so
then you understand.
That's
where that "I'm just being greedy" came from.
Yeah, well, I have two jobs. I feel like as a director, one is to, just be the captain of the story and do everything in service of the story, and the other is to surround myself with people who are more talented and just more brilliant than I am. So it really ends up, I think I've done that here. I have just such an amazing cast, such an amazing crew. We're going to have a good movie.
So do you, whose lead do you follow? Do you follow, I think that may be John calling in. Aloha, is this John?
Hello?
Hi, is this John?
Yeah.
Hey, John. You're on the air live. Are you coming in soon?
I'm still at home. He was going to get.
We're going to have a hard time having you play your
nap with my son.
Oh, okay. Well, we got Josh here, and he's been wonderful. He's been telling me the whole story of what's going on.
I was trying to text Josh. Io said she'll be home soon, 10 minutes or so. I could come down then it might be too late.
Yeah, it could
take me about 45 minutes to get down.
No, then you wouldn't make it. But it's okay. Yeah. We got you. Are you awake?
I can come down maybe some other time.
Okay, that's always cool. Well, that's always good. So, I'm glad I'm glad you called in, because Josh has been he's been very nice, telling me the whole story, including storyboards of what's been happening with the movie here. But I want to know from you, because this is a very music-intensive movie. You're talking 15 songs. And I know when you come in here before, you talk about how you work over every single word. I mean, 15 songs is a massive amount of work, John. So how did you and Josh get it together to do that much work? That's like, actually, these days, that would almost be 3 albums,
Yeah. Well, all the work is not done yet.
Okay.
That's how we got it done. we put a lot of work into this first batch of songs.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking the thought was that we would get people excited about the movie.
Yeah.
With these songs, and then that would it's like the slow lead up,
But I think that's smart. I think that's a brilliant move, because I was just talking to Josh about this. The deal is, these days, everyone wants to do the single, and then there's another single. There's a first single, second single, there's a third single. Yeah. But every time, obviously, you've been getting up, sometimes showing up at 6 or 7 in the morning for some of these TV shows, right?
Yeah, so 2 o'clock should be no problem.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But it is it's really a lot of work, and on top of that, you even have a little bit of a role in here. Have you done movies before, John?
I haven't done much film work at all. I've done a lot of stage acting.
Oh,
back in my early 20s, when I was in college and right after college, I did a lot of stage acting.
I had no idea.
And I was with an ensemble up on the East Coast. I was at 2 different ensembles, actually. But I did a lot of stage acting, and I love it. High school, I was in drama. I was president of a drama club, and when I was a senior.
Wow.
So it's always been something that I've been passionate about, but never quite able to pursue it like I'd wanted to.
Well, gosh, isn't that interesting how this has come around then for you, right?
Well, the awesome thing about this is that it's Hawaiians telling telling stories about us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nice to be involved in a project like that, because when I was I got into drama when I went to UH Manoa. I was all gung ho coming out of high school, and the type of roles and the type of material that that we were doing was just there never seemed like there was a place for someone like me.
Interesting. So
you're doing your Oklahomas and your
no,
your Hello Dollies and all this kind of stuff, and it's like really like, oh, okay, I guess I could be a janitor or the Indian in the movie, or in the play or stuff like that. So it was nice when I went up to the East Coast, because I got involved with these people. Back then we were called the Third World Theater.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We were doing material by and about people of color. So that was awesome that you could get decent roles.
That's amazing.
So this is perfect, because this is I know this role.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. It's got a beautiful story. So when you're doing all of these songs, like I said, I know that you're very, very careful about each song you write. And the songs are going to play the major role in this movie. You've got 15 songs,
Yeah, which was, like when I'm doing my own songs, there's so much more pressure that I put on myself.
Yeah.
When you're doing when you're co-writing, or you're writing for, a particular thing.
Yeah.
It's more freeing, to do that.
Yeah.
It's easier to sort of not be so attached and so emotional and personal about every single decision.
John, are you saying
Although it's still the production part of it's still, I tend to get a little, picky about, but c'est la vie.
So where are you recording, or you obviously have a couple of the songs recorded? What studio are you using to record these in?
We've been all over the place. I've used the studio down in Kihei, Chris's studio. I've used the studio up here in Kula. Michael.
Michael Cassell. Castle.
When I'm recording at home, I have Pro Tools, not Pro Tools, but I do Logic at home.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing about the pandemic thing. It sort of forced me to get over that learning curve and being able to record at home.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law Imua Garza did some recording at his place for this. Johnny Helm's studio on Oahu. So just wherever, whatever would be convenient, because the two lead, Tayana and Bronson, both live on Oahu, so they've flown over to Maui for a handful of sessions,
wow.
And I've flown over to Oahu, when it seems easier to just get stuff done.
So Josh is here, and we've been talking to Josh, and I wanted to kind of have you two talk about this writing process together, because you know how important each song is in moving the whole movie together and moving it along. Each song is very, very important.
The initial thing was, I don't know if Josh Pitts, shared the story with you, but initially Josh had gotten in touch with me and was interested in licensing Island Style for the movie.
Aha, I didn't know that.
And so I said, well, sure, that's possible, let's get together and talk. So he came over to Maui and he gave me the script, and, we talked story and stuff, and then I looked over the script, and I saw that he had other pieces of music that he was planning on using. A lot of the music was Kauai-based music, about Kauai, Heleon to Kauai, just because the story takes place on Kauai.
Yeah.
And I had asked him if he had licensed the rest of this stuff yet, or he had got permission, and he had said no, that he hadn't. And so I had suggested, first I asked him if he had a music supervisor, who was music supervising on the film, and he said he didn't have anyone. And so I said, well, I'd be interested in doing it, because it's part of the business that I've always wanted to get more involved in.
Well,
So,
absolutely. And you know, John, because you've been in the business.
And then I also suggested that maybe we should try writing the music that we need. Then we could get the exact kind of music that we need,
Right.
lyrically and musically that would fit the situation. And I asked him if he had written songs before, and he said, well, a little back in high school. He used to sing melodies to a friend, and then his friend would put together the music and arrange stuff, chordal stuff and whatnot. And I said, well, why don't you he sent me one of the lyrics, one of the songs that he wrote for this movie. He sent me the lyric, and I was reading just the lyric. I said, wow, freaking lyric is good. And I told him that, and I said, maybe we should consider writing the song. So that's just what we did.
Yeah, that was one of the big thrills of my life, is when John told me he really liked my lyrics.
That is a huge moment.
It's a good lyric, and as well, a lot of them are really good.
Ah, thanks, John.
And it's like I should know, because that's what I think about, almost constantly. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think you're right. John, and I know it's so hard making any money from music. Now, I think you're in a little different category. I did see Island Style as an Hawaiian Airlines commercial. I'm like,
right.
Oh, John got on a commercial.
Yeah.
That's good for John.
Yeah, finally getting paid.
He finally gets some money. It's like, it's the only way to get money. But we all know, as in the music field, everyone I know as a musician would love to be involved in a movie, because the movies pay more than Spotify. What does they play? How much do you get paid in Spotify now? A penny, 0.05, or maybe
percentages of pennies.
Yeah, percentages of pennies for that. So and people don't buy albums much anymore. Half the people I know don't even have a CD player. So, I mean, a lot of musicians would just die to get into a movie situation, because what happens in the movie, and you're creating this amazing opportunity to have Hawaiian artists, Hawaiian crew, Hawaiian people who know what they're doing. I think you have, it sounds like a top flight group with people who have done this and can get it done. And then the spotlight's going to be the music, So it's an amazing gift, and then I would imagine it's going to probably be released as a soundtrack after it's all done as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, that's the plan.
Yeah. I mean, you have the perfect venue, the absolutely amazing venue to be able. I hear your son in the background there. Say hi to him for me. Yeah, he's the up and coming musician.
And of course he's heard these songs from the very beginning, the very early demos and stuff, until the point where they're at now. So he's super excited too that Wahine from Waimea is going to be on the radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I love that he loves the songs.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you're not in a setup situation there, but can you hum a few bars or sing a few bars of Wahine from Waimea?
Sure, it goes, Wahine from Waimea, think it's time to pull yourself together. It's a duet with myself and Tayana.
Yeah.
Wahine from Waimea, think it's time that you remember that home is where you find ohana, the ones you love even when you don't wanna. Is it the sweet island breeze you've been missing, or the kiss of someone who's worth kissing? Wahine from Waimea, so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, you.
Josh, you bring a copy of the song that you can leave at the station?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. MP3 or an actual release? Probably an MP3, right?
Yeah.
MP3. We're all going MP3 these days.
Wave file, or what do you guys load into the?
Well, for the computers, we need MP3 because wave files are take too much space up, as you know.
Thing.
You can imagine. Right. You can imagine when our stations have thousands and thousands and thousands of songs. If they were all wave, we would be in trouble. But I like the quality of wave, but we go pretty much MP3, and we want to play this. Especially Kathy Collins says hi. She wants you to come down and do a show with her and talk about this. Also on
Kathy Collins says what?
Hi. She wants you to come down to the Spirit and do a show with her on the Spirit about this as well. So we can have that played also on our Hawaiian music station, the Spirit.
I'd love to come down.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up for you. Absolutely. So how are you? So how much time now with this is your what's the timetable on and arranging? You're the director.
Yes.
Josh, how do you arrange it? Who books it? And I know there's some really good publicity people behind you, but how do you juggle all the time with the islands and getting places? And that's a whole thing in itself. You never know if the plane's going to show up on time, and you got to have everyone there. There's a lot of organizing on something like this, right?
Well, yeah, there is, but it's also just been such a pleasure. This is, like I said, it's a passion project for me. It's a passion project for everyone involved. So getting to go around to, all of my favorite places and talk about this movie that I'm so passionate about, it's really been a joy.
So when do you start shooting?
We're hoping to start shooting a little bit later this year. We're still working out the exact, we've got a lot of moving parts. Not only John and Branscombe, who both live here on Maui, but Bryan Spicer is a very busy guy, and all of our actors. So we're still figuring out our schedule, but we're going to be filming this year, and it's going to be released in 2024.
Yeah, Bryan Spicer, what a treat to be able to work with him,
Oh, my goodness. I say all the time, we have so many icons on this film. We have John Cruz, a Hawaiian music icon. We have Branscombe Richmond, icon of screen, film and television. And we've got Bryan Spicer, this, icon of all these great shows. I could screw up and it would still be a great movie.
So what came first on this one, the chicken or the egg? Did you come up with this idea, and then it was your job to sell it and get Bryan on board and other one? So it was your idea first, and then you had to connect all the dots, right?
Yeah, it all came out of, like I said, my experiences and my friends' experiences. It's a script I wrote that was my love letter to Hawaii, and then getting all of these people involved who felt the same way and really wanted to help me tell this story.
There's a lot of people that have written scripts and never got as far as you've gotten, Josh.
It's not easy to make a movie.
It's a wonderful script, too, Cindy. I wish you could read the script. It's a wonderful script.
I would love
thanks,
to.
Jen.
If you're just tuning in and driving around, I'm talking to Josh here. Josh is the director of this new movie, Hawaiian Hearts, which is going to be out next year. Already 2 singles. I've got John Cruz on the line from Kula. And he and Josh have come up, with quite a few, but they're going to have 15 songs, which is, for a musical, I think this may be a new record, Josh. I don't know. Most musicals do not have 15 songs.
I love musicals, and that's what I grew up on, Singing in the Rain, White Christmas, really any kind of, big Hollywood musical. I grew up on that stuff. But yeah, I would say a lot of musicals, the ones that are chock full of songs, maybe top out around 13. I don't know what the record is, but
you're up there.
Yeah, we're definitely up there.
How long is the movie? What's the projected length?
It's somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours long. We won't really know till we edit it, but I think the script right now is somewhere around 112 pages.
Well, John Cruz, that something like this. Now you're getting a buzz already. You're going around. I have to say, I'm impressed with your PR and press team as well.
Oh,
Janet's
mahalo. Janet at Monameans is wonderful.
Very effective.
She is.
Very effective, and she's doing a great job of getting the word out there. I'm very impressed actually with her.
Yeah, it's been she's been on it with this, and did a little research about which PR firm we wanted to go with. Actually, Ka'io helped a lot with researching and settling on Monameans.
Yes, I'm very grateful to Ka'io for finding Monameans because they've been wonderful to us. So
Monameans is, explain to people what
Monameans is the PR company that we've been working with. That's,
that Janet is with.
Yes, Janet.
Janet.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I hadn't heard of them before, but I'm super impressed.
Oh, well, yes, I am too. It's been a joy working with them.
Yeah, the thing is that, John, we're all excited about the idea of having a movie with local people focusing on our Hawaiian story out there because, number one, the Hawaiian people deserve it, but number two, it can change people's minds and impressions around the world. John, you've traveled everywhere, and people know you by probably, number one, your songs, right? I don't know if they know your name, but they know your songs, right?
Yeah.
Your songs have been all around, right? It's got to be Hawaiian Styles, the most played one, right?
Oh yeah, Hawaiian Styles the most heavily played one.
Yeah, and do you go places? And when you're touring, and do people know that song, but do they know you, or they just know the song?
Oh yeah, they most times they know they associate the song with me, which is awesome.
It is. Absolutely.
You know, and now with Hawaiian Air using it, you know, I'm going to get a lot more.
Did you get a free?
A lot more, exposure. That song's going to get a lot more exposure.
You're going to get more free miles? Did you make a deal to get some free air miles?
Oh yeah. I
did?
got me a deal for miles. Yeah, they put a package together.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh my gosh.
With financial compensation and miles, a whole bunch of miles, and also we're still trying to finish the negotiations for sponsoring the tours and stuff. They're going to be willing to do that also.
That's fantastic. You know that's huge. That's really wonderful. I mean, because you are going to be hopping back and forth more. Obviously, with this now, you're going to need to be flying more to Kauai. You're going to be on. Yeah. You're going to be there on set, right, when they start shooting.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, but the band that I have together now, you know, we're going to extend the 25th anniversary of Acoustic Soul. We're going to extend that tour and go to the mainland with it this year.
Oh, I didn't know that. When's that start?
In July.
Wow. Well, that's a whole gig in itself. How long are you touring for?
We're just going to do probably do a West Coast run. Do a West Coast run in July. So far, we've got booked, early part of July, like a week and a half, first week and a half of July, from L.A. down. No, not L.A. What am I talking about?
San Francisco?
Like San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
Going down south to San Diego. And then later on in the early fall, probably September, catch the rest of the West Coast and go up to Canada and then head over to the East Coast.
Okay, John. You've got 2 tours coming up. You got 15 songs. You've written what? How many songs have you done so far? 4?
Well, we've recorded 5 of the songs, which are going to come out on this EP.
Oh, good! You got an EP coming out.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
we have the single Wahine from Waimea, which is out now. Then this Friday, the 10th, Lani is coming out, and then on March 24th, the full EP of all 5 songs is going to be released.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's
thank
wonderful.
you.
Yeah, they're going to have to create a new category in. The Nahokus are going to have a movie category. They have music videos. We'll sweep the music videos, but I don't think they have movie soundtrack category, do they? I don't think they do. They're going to have to create one.
No.
Yeah, for movie soundtrack on this one. My gosh, it's amazing. But you're going to be busy between the 2 tours, and you still have to write about, 10 songs? 9 songs?
Some of them are some of them are written.
Yeah, the songs are all pretty much written.
Are they
better than not being busy.
That's true.
Yeah, the songs are all written. We just have to find the time to record them.
Those few years of just
I
know.
It was dead. It was nothing.
Yeah, so it's nice to be busy.
Yeah, I know. I have to agree with you on that. And you had been doing this wonderful gig there on Wednesdays at Pro Arts, but I imagine that's going to be closing up pretty soon. How we do that for about how much longer?
Yeah, we've shifted to every other Wednesday now. At Pro Arts, which in one sense has been kind of nice because now it's full. It's definitely full house every show.
Yeah.
And that's been nice. That's been a great. It's been a great little show to develop.
Yeah.
And it lets people who are coming to Hawaii kind of plan on seeing me and know that they're going to be able to.
I mean, I don't know if they realize. I sometimes wonder if they realize how freaking lucky they are to be able to see you play in a small venue of like 100 seats. I mean, it's unheard of.
I mean, it's a good show. I try to put on a good show. It's advertised as an hour and a half, but I always go at least 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Without an intermission.
Yeah.
And even then, I still got 10, 15, 20 songs that I still want to play.
Well, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it's wonderful. So after your tour, the last tour you do, which will be the last of the warm days in Alaska, You come back and then you get serious, super serious, because by then you're going to be going to Kauai, right, Josh? And getting
we'll
serious.
be filming this thing here pretty soon. So
yeah, and be doing that. And I imagine you're going to be doing some Zoom together as well, creating some of these finishing products up and the music for the Zooms, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, John and I met right before the pandemic, and came up.
Yeah.
John pitched this idea to me of writing all original music right before the pandemic,
Oh,
and
wow.
so we worked a lot back and forth online, all the way through the pandemic, and kind of came out of the pandemic with all this music that we
I
then
see.
got to start working on together.
Oh, so now you're refining. You're just
Yeah,
getting,
so now we're getting into the studio, starting to record it, and that's been so much fun.
So are you doing basic, just singing the guitar and maybe some bass? Are you doing groups? Are you doing orchestrations, arrangements? Or what are you doing for that? Because sometimes people think of musicals as a lot of big arrangements. So how are you handling that part?
Right. Well, the arrangements for the film might be a little bit different than what we've put together for the EP. But what we really wanted to do with the EP is, a lot of my favorite musicals growing up, all of the songs were released before the movies. They, just think about Singing in the Rain. That was a radio hit before they wrote a movie around
I
it.
didn't even think of that.
Same thing with White Christmas, same thing with Holiday Inn. They were all big radio hits that they thought, oh, let's make a movie about this.
Wow. Isn't
And
that interesting?
that's my favorite part, is knowing the songs, singing along. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if, maybe not all the songs, we don't want to give away all our surprises, but maybe we pick 5 really fun songs, get them out there so that people can know some of the music when they go into the film, and maybe that would make them relate to the film a little bit better if they can actually kind of tap their toes and hum along to the ones they know.
Well, I thank you for that, Josh, because people sometimes forget about the power of radio and the music, and I think you recognize that, and I think that's wonderful that you do.
Absolutely. I love music. It's, it's such an important part of the culture here in Hawaii as well. So
You see all the pieces, a lot of that's Hawaiian music over there. And we've got a studio here. We used to have, all this was albums at one time, thousands of albums in this studio.
That's so
but
cool.
we have some of those CDs, but some of those are still albums in there. We have some classic Hawaiian albums in there. They go way back, some of the originals. Look up there at Gabby.
Oh, wow. And that's all the stuff that I grew up on. So that's really great.
Yeah, you've seen it. You've been in here. You've seen what we've got. It's pretty. Well, this Kauai FM started back 40 years ago. It's the first FM radio station here.
Yeah.
So it goes deep, and people like John Cruz, of course, we're always blessed to have him hanging around. So, John, do you foresee, once this is all happening and out next year, do you see that kind of taking some of the music that's from the movie and going out and doing some gigs and actually playing some of the music live in some of the venues?
Well, yeah, I've already played Hey Hana Pepe on a gig.
Oh, nice.
One of those songs, yeah.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So that's and I guess I bet Kauai is going to love this too, because there's a lot of Oahu-based stuff. We get some on Maui, right? But there's not a lot on Kauai, right?
This is, it's a love letter to Hawaii, but it really specifically to Kauai. And we've got a song about, as John mentioned, we have a song about Hana Pepe. Our first single is about Waimea, and we have a song about Hanalei. It's just I hope that people enjoy it on Kauai, because it definitely is a love letter to Kauai.
So I bet people are going to grab this and it get played. I'm pretty sure you can get it played in the theaters here.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
I'm almost positive some of the theaters will jump on this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Barry Rivers, right?
Yeah.
Barry Rivers would sure love to do a big thing on this next year, I'm sure, for the film festival as well.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
With some
that would
of the
be wonderful.
people, and get them in there and get John Cruz in there and everything. It'd be really nice, because people are really proud. Truly, when someone like you has worked for years on this and has created it and gotten to the point where now it's in production, I think it inspires other filmmakers.
That's what I'm hoping. I think that's part of what I'm hoping with keeping this so local crew and local cast, is that we can inspire other films. I always say Hawaii is such a beautiful place. A lot of movies get made here, but it's pretty rare that they're local stories, pretty rare that they're local cast or crew. And so I'm hoping that we inspire the other films that shoot here to try and kind of do the same thing we're doing, that it is something that not only you can do, but that you should do, because there's so much wonderful talent here.
It's not that people don't want to. It's just the fact they think it's so daunting. Number one, getting the budget.
Right.
getting the budget, getting the people, then getting all the permits and getting all of that together and getting enough money to get here and there and work with the time frame. I know many people that have wanted to do these kind of projects, but very few people have gotten to the stage you're at already.
Yeah, well, I'm not even speaking specifically to films as like our own that are born here, but just to the films coming in from the mainland. I hope that we kind of inspire them to say, hey, we don't need to bus everybody in, we don't need to ship everybody over.
That's true.
There's amazing talent here, both cast and crew that you can hire local.
And I thank you for that, because I've been, knowing enough people and used to have a video production company, and that was always the biggest thing is, can you get enough people? We want to do something here. Do you have enough people who can do lighting? Can you get enough people to do can you get enough people that really can do there's usually plenty of good bass actors that can do it, but it's all the rest of the stuff behind the scenes doing it that has been the hard part. And I do think people like Hawaii Five-0, and I do think people like Magnum P.I, and I do think that now also NCIS Hawaii has really added to the validity of yes, you can do all that here,
Absolutely. I mean, Bryan Spicer's company, Sight and Sound, not only have they built a really wonderful crew there, but they do a lot in the community of teaching skills both behind the camera and in front of the camera.
Do they?
They have a regular acting class now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful work that they're doing, and that's something that they're passionate about, and that's why I love partnering with them, because it's something I'm passionate about as well. And I've been talking since the beginning of this project about ways that we can not only hire local, but for people who are local and are maybe interested in getting into the industry, ways that we can have them come join us on set and learn these skills.
Okay, so then, John, you're going to have to teach people how to write songs, too.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you've taught your son. You taught your son how to do it already, so, you're kind of doing it there already. I've always told this story.
Well, and I've been involved with the Hawaii Songwriters Festival since its beginning, over 20 years now.
Yeah, that's true. I remember even when Hara was doing... on the old days when they had a 5-day thing for the Nahokus, I went, and you were teaching a class there, and I loved it. I went, and that was like 10 years ago, I think, or something. And that was a great moment.
The convention hall, yeah.
I wish they brought it back,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, because that was really valuable for people who did want to learn the skills, And truly, these days there's a lot of people that get inspired by people like you. I've told this story many times, but you haven't heard it, Josh. We were doing a concert. I think we were sponsoring or something at the MAC. And Jackson Browne was playing, I don't know if it was David Crosby. I know Stephen Stills playing at the MAC, and opening up in the courtyard was John Cruz, right? I've interviewed Jackson Browne like 3 or 4 times. When I worked back at K-Rock in the old days, actually, his manager called me and said, can you ask people if they know how to get a 55 Chevy? We need a cover for an album. You're late for the skies. I got like 10 people. So anyway, Jackson Browne I'd known, and he steps out from the back side of the side door of the MAC, and he goes to the side looking through the fence at John Cruz playing. And I go up to say hi. He says, isn't John Cruz amazing? He says, I love this guy. He is so amazing. This guy is the best. Listen to him. He was really just very, very taken with John Cruz, and knew and recognized as a songwriter and as a good musician, guitarist, the talent that John had. And I was very impressed that, he could be hanging out backstage or in the green room or doing whatever what he wanted to do, but instead he wanted to come out and listen to John Cruz play. And that said something to me. I always remember that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Jackson's been wonderful supporter too. He's just always been so. He's such a great guy.
Well, and he's always stood up for his causes.
And humble.
Yep.
And, that's been a blessing.
And you know what? You're humble too, John, because a lot of people who are musicians wouldn't agree to play like an opening out in the courtyard. A lot of people who are musicians at your stature wouldn't agree to play at Pro Arts for 100-seat crowd. I mean, you got to play for President Barack Obama. I mean, you got to the status
3 times. No.
3 times for Barack Obama, and not many musicians can say that, John.
No, the thing at the MAC, I agreed to play in the courtyard. Two reasons. The main reason was that it was a benefit for Babalu's daughter.
Uh-huh.
Babalu, who's a DJ on Mana'o Radio, and he was on the road before he had his daughter. He was a roadie with Jackson, with Crosby, Stills, Nash, with Bonnie, with that same gang of people, same group of people, and he's been living on Maui now for like over 30 years. But the benefit was to buy her. She's got special needs. To buy her a brand new van, like fully equipped van that she could get around in.
Wow.
And so those people agreed to do that show for Babalu because he's wonderful. And he grows proteas up here in Kula. But that was one reason. The other reason was because I knew I'd be playing in the courtyard, but I knew that I was going to bum rush the stage anyway inside. I told Art, wait a minute. Art said, well, I don't know. A lot of people have been asking to, wanting to get in on the action and stuff. And I told Art, hey, Art, this is my town, man. I'm getting on that stage.
Yep.
And we had a laugh about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we only have 2 minutes left. I'm sorry you couldn't come down, but I'm going to take you on a rain check for this, John, and bring you in
please do.
And have you do some of these songs in studio here. And
I'd love to.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to follow along. We'd love to sponsor this movie when it comes out and everything, and
mahalo,
and be behind it because I am very, very thrilled, and I appreciate you taking the time to fly over just to be here today and share your story, Josh. And
absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's really inspiring, I think, to me, and inspiring to many, many people, that you could have a dream like this and that it actually could come true.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot of perseverance, a lot of hard work, and just the best team that you could hope for. But it's exciting to be this close.
The hardest part is are you going to be too nice to be a director, Josh?
I'm not. I like to think I'm always nice, but my wife says that I have a totally different personality when I'm on set.
Okay.
Not mean, just more commanding.
Well, we've heard stories about directors. I mean, I'm just. I was raised in Hollywood. But okay. Well, it's a true treat, and John, make sure you take care of that kid and give the kid and your wife a kiss for me, and I'm going to call on you to come back down and be here soon, back in the studio.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, and you're going to keep us posted on all of that, okay?
For sure, yeah.
And Josh, tell me, how do people find out more? I know you've been on this. You have a Facebook site?
Yes, we do. So Hawaiian Heart Movie is how you find us on Facebook. It's also how you find us on Instagram, Hawaiian Heart Movie. And at both of those places, Facebook and Instagram, you can find a link to our music video that's out now and our single that's out now and all the music that we're about to release. And
by the way, folks, you can go to YouTube.
Oh, yeah, Hawaiian Heart Movie on YouTube as well, and Hawaiian Heart. The single that's out now is called Wahine from Waimea, and we're really proud of it.
And you can see John Cruz?
Yeah, you can see the Wahine from Waimea music video that we filmed with John and Tiana out in Kauai.
And so it's good. It's really well done, excellently shot. And
thank
good.
you.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. So thank you, and I thank you, Josh. And please say hi to Janet and thank her for setting this all up with us at Mom.
Absolutely, I will. And I mahalo nui for having me, and it's been really wonderful talking story with you.
Yeah, it's been great. I'm glad I got a chance to know you. Well, we thank you guys. We love you, and thank you. We couldn't do the show without you. And be looking for more information. We'll get John Cruz back in here soon, and we'll be following the story of Hawaiian Heart as it evolves into the directorial debut next year. Aloha.
Aloha.